Thanks for listening to this episode of the Easy Game Golf Podcast. Remember to visit us at easygamerradio.com, follow us on Instagram at easygamegolf, and subscribe to the podcast on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Welcome to the first installment of your weekly update from the Easy Game Golf Podcast. This is just meant to bring you up to speed on what's going on in the golf world, whether it is the professional tours, any of the industry events, anything going on, just to get you into the week and get you started on what you need to know. So the PGA Tour opened up the season last week with Hideki Matsuyama just going absolutely wicked. The man is very familiar with wearing green, looks good in green. He shot a minus 36 to win against a loaded field that featured players like Collin Morikawa, and the dude was lights out in Hawaii swing as we begin the 2025 season. But this weekend, the PGA Tour was at Waialae in Hawaii for the Sony Open. Nick Taylor absolutely defied gravity, chipping in for eagle on the 18th hole in the final round on Sunday. That got him into a playoff where he ended up locking in the win in a second playoff hole with a 2.5-foot birdie putt. The tour is now going to travel to La Quinta, California for the American Express. This was an interesting event last year. Nick Dunlap won by one stroke in 2024, playing on a sponsor's exemption as an amateur out of the University of Alabama, becoming the first amateur in 33 years to win on the PGA Tour. At the time, he tied Patrick Cantlay for the low amateur tour single round. He shot a minus 12 on Saturday to shoot a 60. He entered that 2024 tournament sitting at the 4,121st ranking in the overall world golf rankings, total sleeper. A week later, he ended up surrendering his amateur status, accepted his PGA Tour card. He's going to be coming back this next week, defending his title out at La Quinta in the American Express. Last year, this was when he played as an amateur, ended up surrendering his amateur status and accepted his PGA Tour card following his win. This was the year when he didn't get any money, didn't get any advantage out of winning that as a professional, but it was his turning point in his career where he became a professional on the PGA Tour. He'll be back to defend his title at La Quinta, but we will not see number one Scottie Scheffler. He withdrew back on January 6th due to his hand injury that happened at his Christmas dinner, carving a turkey or whatever Scottie was doing. But either way, don't expect to see the overall world number one at the American Express. He is currently targeting his season opener at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am starting on January 30th. If you tuned into the TGL this last week, it was a massive success. There was a lot of skepticism out of all of the internet and the golf world overall about how the TGA was going to do. But last week on Tuesday, they had their first event. They averaged 919,000 views over the entire broadcast. They peaked at 1.1 million viewers between 9:15 and 9:30 p.m. This matched numbers for the NBA games that happened on the same day between the LA Lakers and the Mavericks, as well as the Celtics and Nuggets. So that's a big win for the TGL. A lot of skepticism, a lot of hate coming. Nobody was really sure what it was going to bring. I thought it was a success. I went into it with kind of low expectations. I wanted to be entertained. I thought it exceeded what I was expecting to see, and it was a lot of fun to watch. And again, in week one, we saw the Bay, based out of San Francisco, featuring Shane Lowry, Wyndham Clark, and Ludwig Oberg. They took down the New York Golf Club, featuring Matt Fitzpatrick, Ricky Fowler, and Xander Schauffele. They beat them 9-2. Absolute dominant performance out of the Bay. It was a lot of fun to watch. I enjoyed it. We talk about it on the Easy Game podcast. I think they know what they need to improve on. It was entertaining. I'm looking forward to this next week. Week 2 is 6 p.m. Central on Tuesday. You can find it through ESPN. We're going to see LA against Jupiter Lynx. This is going to be Tiger Woods' first appearance. Again, he's a backer of the TGL. Him and Rory started the whole thing. He's a big advocate. I've got a little bit of a conspiracy theory that the format and the fact that the players aren't actually grinding all the way down the golf course, this is going to play to Tiger's advantage. So we're going to see Kevin Kisner, Max Homa, alongside Tiger take on LA featuring Colin Morikawa, Justin Rose, and Sahith Theegala. There's some major winners in this event on Tuesday. I keep wanting to call it a tournament. I guess it's not, but it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I expect these ratings to be a lot higher in this second week of the TGL. You know, call it that 1 million viewer mark. It's going to be interesting to watch. Tiger is going to be a lot of fun. They had him on the first week. He was in the booth calling the rounds. Rory was there. He didn't really say much, kind of awkward behind the mic, but I think it's going to be interesting. I definitely think it's going to get a lot more viewers. We'll see if it hits that 1.5 viewer mark. We're kind of in that dead zone between the NFL playoffs. The NBA is about the only show in town right now, and the golf season is just picking up. So maybe this is a good opportunity to gain some viewers for the PGA Tour. It'll be very interesting to see how they continue to try to bridge the gap between the casual golfer, the avid golf fan, as well as just the overall casual sports fan. I think they kind of overdid it with DJ Khaled on week one. We didn't need to see him twice. I know I would like to see a little bit more of that course management and that strategy mindset that goes into how the players are approaching each of the holes that happen on the TGL. But either way, great success for the TGL. Tiger showing up is going to be huge. I think no matter what, we're going to see a growth in the viewers. It's at a little bit better time. We started at 7 Central last week. This week at 6. It's going to be interesting to watch. So Max Homa, Tiger Woods, Kevin Kisner, a lot of good names showing up on Tuesday for the TGL. Tiger's in some other news this week. Puma actually hit his brand, Sunday Red, with a lawsuit, basically saying that the logo copies the Puma brand just a little too much. Puma's had this brand since 1969, and Sunday Red, again, Tiger's brand, it's actually owned by TaylorMade. They're saying that brand, the logo is too similar to the Puma brand. And according to CNBC, TaylorMade's responded, they are confident in their trademarks and their logos. I think there's some merit to this. It looks very similar. You could even bring in the Slazenger logo, and there's another company out there that has also sued Tiger for his use of this kind of pouncing tiger logo. Tiger has some unique marks on the bone structure, the skeletal structure to his logo represents his 15 major victories. However, there's some similarities. The view that you could take, though, from a Puma point of view, I'm telling you, looking at the Sunday Red brand and the lineup of offerings that they have, their price points are nowhere near Puma's. And if somebody is accidentally buying a Sunday Red product, thinking that it's Puma, you're going to know the second you swipe your credit card. So interesting to keep an eye on. I don't think it's going to make any difference on Tiger's performance in the TGL or anything. I really doubt that he's going to be distracted by this, but interesting to watch. Over on the LIV Tour, there really hasn't been a lot of talk about the LIV Tour. The whole 2024 PGA versus LIV controversy that went on. Now they're in talks about coming up to a merger agreement. Haven't heard much about it, and I'm just guessing that that's because of all the buzz about TGL that's going on. The LIV Tour did announce its 2025 schedule. It's going to feature U.S. events at Doral in Miami, the Robert Trent Jones course outside of Washington, D.C. This was also the course that hosted the 2024 Solheim Cup, where we saw the American ladies play against the European ladies. It was an amazing course, great venue. Excited to see the LIV play there. Merido outside of Dallas, Bolingbrook near Chicago, Chatham Hills for its Indianapolis event. And then it's going to finally wrap up the LIV 2025 season with its championship event at the Cardinal at St. John's outside of Detroit in Plymouth, Michigan. I'm a little disappointed that Nashville didn't make the cut for the 2025 season. I went down and saw the event for a few days at the Grove outside of Nashville. I thought it was really well done. I kind of went into it with an attitude similar to the TGL this year. I didn't have high hopes. I expected to be disappointed, and I was pleasantly surprised. From a viewer point of view on the grounds, it was very well done. I think LIV comes with a unique product. I'm looking forward to seeing the LIV Tour and the PGA come to some kind of agreement that gets the players on the same competing schedule, figures out a way to get the overall world golf rankings in check. I want to see Bryson. I want to see Phil. I want to see Brooks all competing against the folks that they are really measuring themselves up against. I'm convinced, and we'll talk about it soon on some of the upcoming episodes, we're starting to see some LIV Tour fallout from some of its players, some folks that have mentioned that they want to continue to pursue the PGA Tour. I just don't think that being able to play in majors is going to be enough for a lot of the guys on the LIV Tour. I also have a feeling that the incoming presidency is going to make a difference on the merger. Either way, really interested to see it. I think I might have to make a drive up to the Indianapolis round to catch that event. It was really well done. I had a lot of fun as a spectator. I went with my wife on one of the days, just us two, and it was great. Brought some family. On other days, I really enjoyed the LIV event. I wish that I was closer to one. Indy's not too bad. And just really looking forward to what the LIV Tour shows up with in 2025. I would throw down a bet right now that this might be the last year of the LIV Tour where we don't see a combined PGA LIV Tour event, and maybe this all goes away. We'll see. It is a new year, so of course we have new gear. The PGA Tour show is showing up in Orlando, January 21st through 24th. Again, this is where all of the vendors show up, all the new gear and the brands and manufacturers that make all the golf equipment, all the new technology be showed off in Orlando. We've already started to see a lot of the offerings from the manufacturers. TaylorMade has dropped the QI35 line. This will sunset the QI10 line that debuted in 2024, and no different for TaylorMade. They're coming out with something new every year, and I kind of appreciate, and I definitely can respect the amount of engineering speed that TaylorMade performs with and what they deliver to the market. It's very impressive. You could argue it's a marketing scheme where they're going to tell you every year you're gaining 30 yards with your driver. Anybody that's played golf for more than 2 years, you know that it's probably not true for your swing. You probably need to go and get with your local PGA coaching professional and get a real lesson that will help you more than dropping $600 to $800 on the latest gear. However, kudos to TaylorMade. The QI35 line, it looks like a stealth bomber. I like the callback that they do with the comparison to the F35 Joint Strike Fighter. It's wrapped in carbon. It looks really cool. I would love to swing one. However, my first impression of it, it looks like the TaylorMade Sim 2 that came out years ago. It's been favored by a lot of players on the PGA Tour. To me, just looking on the internet, it looks like a Sim 2 just wrapped in carbon fiber. Still not a fan of the carbon fiber face. I don't like the sound of it. I've played the Stealth. It was just okay for me. But either way, a lot of raving reviews coming out of the TaylorMade camp right away early in 2025. Callaway released the Elite lineup. This covers their drivers, their woods, their irons. They also have a triple diamond offering that's showing up in players' bags on the tour. Cobra, kind of cool. They dropped a new set of irons. But they also recently signed Max Homa, who we will see on the TGL this upcoming Tuesday. Signed Max over away from Titleist. They dropped the TS Adapt lineup on their driver. This features 33 driver settings on the hosel. I couldn't tell you offhand exactly how many a standard driver has for its setting features and just the amount that they have, but 33 is absurd. I kind of look at this both ways. You might have too many options. If you're the type of golfer that tinkers with clubs, you're probably going to find yourself swimming in the deep really, really quick. But also, I think it is a really strong advantage for a fitter that's going to be able to kind of just tune down a couple of responses that driver gives them, no matter what. I think this is the first of their kind where we've been able to see so many different options on one hosel from an OEM. The last time that I can remember something this drastic was probably over 10 years ago when TaylorMade came out with the R1. It had just a ton of adjustability options, and it was really exciting at the time. I think that kind of launched the idea of having adjustable drivers, and Cobra now stepping it up another notch. 33 driver settings is a lot. Speaking of Max Homa, who left Titleist, TaylorMade released more woods into its GT series. We're seeing fairway woods as well as hybrids now launched. I've really enjoyed my GT3. I put that in the bag in August. I think this is going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm looking forward to get a chance to hit it. They look really clean. They're very traditional Titleist. They match well with the GT series, which was a pretty soft transition for the eye from the TS lineup. So excited to see what Titleist comes out with that. Staying within the Titleist camp, Scotty Cameron also put prototype putters into the hands of some tour players over the last 2 weeks. From the pictures I saw, I'm not overly impressed with the level of creativity from Scotty on these putters. To me, they look like jailbirds marked with the typical Scotty crown. I'm sure the feel and the sound of these putters is probably amazing. What I'm more interested to see with putters overall is how they take the lab technology and the lab center of gravity and MOI technology that they've been able to enjoy. There's just no way that lab can corner that market completely for too long. I think that they had an advantage of being the first in the market and producing just outstanding results. But if you're like me, the lab putters, they look terrible in the golf bag. I can't bring myself to want to buy it. Every time I've gone to a PGA Superstore and hit a lab, I love how they perform. But I just know if I am nervous over a putt for birdie and I'm looking down a lab putter, I don't like what I see, even if I like what I feel and how it does, and I'm going to get distracted when I hit that putt. So I'm excited to see the manufacturers take on some of that technology, put it into their offerings. Scotty Cameron coming out with it. Not impressed with Scotty's level of creativity or innovation on the look. Again, it might play like a lab. I think it looks like a jailbird. It does not scream Scotty Cameron to me. We've seen this before, though. 10 years ago or so when Adam Scott won the Masters, there was that Futura putter. It was just huge, obnoxious putter. It works, and if the results are there, we'll see how it goes. Speaking of those Callaway lineups, talking about their elite lineup, there was also recently a picture of a new jailbird that featured a slant hosel. That'll be kind of interesting. I think if we see the kind of explosive results on the tour of the jailbird again, Callaway's going to have a lot of success with that Odyssey lineup. They also came out with their AI1 milled inserts lately. I think that was the end of 2024. But either way, just a ton of really, really great stuff coming out from the major manufacturers of our golf equipment. New golf, new year, new gear, a lot of things to come. So this will wrap up your what to know for the week of January 13th, 2025 from the Easy Game Golf Podcast. Hope you have a great week. Hope you're staying warm wherever you are. We've seen a ton of winter weather blow across the South. I know I'm ready for it to go away and for greens to get those tarps off and go and play golf. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we will catch up with you soon.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Easy Game Golf Podcast. Remember to visit us at easygameradio.com, follow us on Instagram at EasyGameGolf, and subscribe to the podcast on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts.